5. Take back control of your attention. So, if your brain naturally chases unfinished things, does that mean you're powerless? Not at all. In fact, the moment you recognize an open loop, it begins to lose its power. The next time your phone buzzes, don't reach for it immediately. Wait. Just 30 seconds. Notice what happens. You'll probably feel a small urge. A little voice saying, "Check it now." That feeling isn't an emergency. It's simply your brain trying to close an open loop. The same thing happens with unfinished videos, half-read books, and endless social media feeds. Every swipe promises that the next post might finally be the one you're looking for. But most of the time, there is no final answer. The loop never truly ends. That's why some people spend hours scrolling, without remembering what they actually saw. One simple habit can help. Before opening your phone, ask yourself one question. Am I choosing this? Or is something choosing for me? That single question forces your brain to slow down. And when your brain slows down, you regain control. Because attention is one of the most valuable things you own. Every notification, every headline, every unfinished story is competing for it. The companies with the biggest budgets aren't just fighting for your money. They're fighting for your attention. And once you understand how the game works, you stop becoming the player. You become the one holding the controller. That's how you break the loop, before the loop controls you. 4. The open loop is everywhere. By now, you might think this only happens with movies. But it doesn't. Open loops are everywhere. Walk through a supermarket, and you'll see products labeled limited edition. Only a few left. Coming soon. These messages leave something unfinished. They create the feeling that if you don't act now, you'll miss something important. The same thing happens online. A notification appears, but you don't open it. Suddenly, you can't stop wondering who sent it, or what it says. The notification itself isn't powerful. The unanswered question is. That's the open loop. Your brain doesn't like uncertainty. It wants the missing piece. The ending. The answer. That's why you keep checking your phone. Even when you know nothing important has probably happened. Advertisers understand this. App designers understand this. Content creators understand this. They don't need to force your attention. They only need to leave one small question unanswered. And your brain does the rest. Once you recognize these open loops, something interesting begins to happen. You stop reacting automatically. You start noticing the invisible strains pulling your attention. Because the greatest trick isn't making you watch. It's making you believe. You chose to keep watching. 3. Why Netflix never wants you to stop watching. Have you ever told yourself, just one more episode? Then somehow, 3 hours disappeared? That wasn't an accident. It was carefully designed. Streaming platforms discovered something fascinating. If every episode ended with a complete story, most people would simply stop watching. So instead, they end at the worst possible moment. A mystery remains unsolved. A character opens a mysterious door. Someone receives a shocking phone call. And then, the screen suddenly goes black. Your brain immediately starts asking questions. What happened next? Who was behind the door? What was in the message? Those unanswered questions create an open mental loop. And your brain hates open loops. It wants answers. It wants closure. That uncomfortable feeling pushes you to click. Next episode. The same strategy appears everywhere. YouTube videos end with a teaser. Books finish a chapter with a surprise. Video games reveal the next mission just before you stop playing. Even social media uses the same trick. You refresh your feed because your brain expects something new might appear. Most people think they're making a free choice. But often, they're simply trying to close an unfinished story. The surprising part is, once you understand this pattern, you'll begin seeing it everywhere. And you'll realize, some of the biggest companies in the world don't sell products. They sell unfinished endings. 2. The Zeigarnik effect. In the 1920s, a psychologist noticed something unusual. Waiters in busy restaurants could remember dozens of customer orders without writing anything down. But the moment the bill was paid, those same orders seemed to disappear from memory. Why? The customers hadn't changed. The food hadn't changed. Only one thing had. The task was finished. Curious about this pattern, psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik designed a series of experiments. She asked volunteers to complete simple activities. Some finished every task. Others were interrupted halfway through. Later, she asked everyone to remember what they had been doing. The results surprised everyone. People consistently remembered the unfinished tasks far better than the completed ones. This became known as the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain treats unfinished tasks like open files. As long as they remain incomplete, they continue demanding attention. It's almost as if your brain keeps placing a small reminder on your desk, refusing to let you forget. That's why an unfinished email keeps popping back into your mind. Why an interrupted conversation feels impossible to ignore. And why simply starting a project often makes it much harder to walk away. The fascinating part is, your brain isn't trying to distract you. It's trying to make sure you eventually come back and finish what you started. But once scientists understood this effect, they discovered something even more surprising. Businesses, filmmakers, and even app designers have learned how to use it against you. 1. The annoying feeling you can't explain. Have you ever finished a long day, only to realize your mind keeps replaying the one thing you didn't finish? Not the 10 tasks you completed. Not the problems you solved. Just that one unfinished conversation. That unanswered message. Or the project you promised yourself you'd finish tomorrow. Strange, isn't it? You can accomplish almost everything on your list. Yet one tiny unfinished task refuses to leave your mind. It follows you into dinner, into your evening, sometimes even into your dreams. Most people think this happens because they care too much. But that's not the real reason. Your brain simply hates unfinished business. Every time you start a task, your brain opens what psychologists call a mental loop. As long as that loop stays open, your brain keeps checking it. Again, and again, and again. It's almost like having a browser tab that keeps flashing, demanding your attention. The task may be small, but to your brain, it's still incomplete. And incomplete things are surprisingly difficult to ignore. This is why a half-written email can be more distracting than 20 finished ones. Why an unfinished puzzle keeps pulling you back. And why saying, "I'll do it later," often guarantees you'll keep thinking about it now. The strange part is, your brain isn't trying to annoy you. It's actually trying to help. But the way it does that may be controlling far more of your attention than you ever realized. And once scientists discovered why this happens, they uncovered one of the most fascinating effects in psychology.